We back with another one, man. Video by Flacco. Talking about Benzino, man. Let's see what's going on with Benzino.
Benzino finally discovered the method to get attention online and is destroying him. He's losing his mind with the attention he's trying to garner. He's calling everybody out. He's dissing people. He's contradicting himself while he's dissing people. It's just an overall bad look. Honestly,
I'm gonna just be real, bro. Who would really care about getting dissed by Benzino? Like, for real. I don't think nobody would really care about Benzino talking about you, bro.
I can't even blame Benzino. This is just the natural progression for all the washed up old heads. Now, Benzino's story is a little different because Benzino is one of the OG bloggers, if you want to call The Source, which is a magazine, a blog, but in some sense it was with the mic system. However, the evolution is simple. A lot of these dudes go from looking down upon the media, calling the media gossipers, calling us untalented, saying we only talk about people that matters because we aren't worth a damn. And then naturally, the career or the hustle or the shtick that they were using to generate funds, that don't pan out. And they look at how much money the media is making, and now they're attempting to play gatekeeper. Now their entire tone has switched up from y'all are losers for talking about people who are lit and gossiping online. Now it's, hey, bruh, y'all shouldn't be talking about people because y'all not qualified. Only we qualify, so we gonna do all the gossiping for you guys. And Benzino is unfortunately at the stage where he believes that he should be doing the gossiping.
I'll put my resume against any of you motherfuckers. Any of you top podcast niggas. Oh, I'm coming. My podcast coming straight from the source.
Hold on, Benzino. First of all, let me tell you something about the source. Listen, man. Listen. We was all tricked by the Source magazine. The Source magazine was not the coach. I'm going to tell y'all exactly what the Source magazine was that we didn't find out the later, and it's the exact reason they failed, went bankrupt, and all that. The Source magazine wasn't nothing but basically like an extortion piece of media. Basically, what I mean by that is we thought getting 5 mics meant something. It didn't. You could literally pay to get 5 mics. Literally, think about it. When the Source was out and Benzino was over there, the only way an album got 4 or 5 mics is if Benzino liked it, the rapper. If he didn't, you was gonna get that 2.5 to 3, and you could have the best album that year. You could be the best album coming out that year. So if you really looked at the Source, or record labels would pay Benzino them to give an artist the 5 mics. But they won't just give it to you. And if Benzino didn't mess with you like that, he'll give your album 2.5 mics on purpose. Even if you had the best album of the year. So how the heck, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why the Source never gets brought up. We don't consider the Source a real piece of media. We don't consider the Source a real piece of hip-hop history. We was tricked. Yeah, there was some good interviews in there here and there, but think about it. Most of the ads was trash stuff we didn't want. Oh, trash. Spreewell shoes, Starberry shoes. Got that, you know what I'm saying? All the ads was trash, and the mic count was either bought or dictated by Benzino on how much he liked you. And I used to always look at that and be like, something wrong at the Source. Then we found out later what they was doing with the mics and all that. But yeah, man, the Source ain't. That's why don't nobody never talk about it. It was a sham. It wasn't really for the culture.
Because it's too much bullshit. I'm gonna bring that truth. I don't got no gray area with me anymore. It's too much gray area. It's only right and wrong. It's only the truth.
What you gonna talk about?
To garner excitement for this new podcast he has coming, he's been going on a rampage against any and everyone. He's putting to use the formula he discovered, which is how to get attention online. Find somebody famous who's involved in a story, say something negative or a hot take about them, and usually that right there will garner you some attention. But Benzino forgot about the last puzzle to this formula, which is you have to be consistent, you have to be credible. So Benzino's Shannon Sharp take sort of left out the credible and consistent part because everything Benzino said like simply got debunked and he was proven to be a hypocrite within a span of minutes. He took to his Instagram to give a hot take about the Shannon Sharpe and Jim Jones situation. Shannon Sharpe essentially called out Jim Jones for being super delusional to his face after Jim Jones went on a press tour declaring how he's better than Nas and more influential than Nas and has a better catalog than Nas. And everybody who Jim Jones did an interview with was apparently too scared to call him delusional to his face. So Shannon Sharpe called him delusional. Jim Jones didn't like it. They had a huge blowout. So Benzino is about to tell us how Shannon Sharpe is wrong, how Shannon Sharpe shouldn't have an opinion on hip-hop, which to me just reeks of hatred and jealousy. Even in his podcast announcement, it reeks of hatred and jealousy when he says these other platforms don't have the right to speak on the culture and only he has the right, so he's starting a platform so he could bring the real back to the culture. That's essentially him trying to play gatekeeper to box out platforms like Shannon Sharpe or other cultural or cultural adjacent platforms because he believes that he really can't compete in the market. He can't, don't have the skills, don't have the resources. I don't know what he thinks he's lacking, but obviously he thinks he's lacking something that he's trying to box out other platforms so he can carve out some type of niche in the market.
Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe. First, congratulations on Club Shay Shay. But you know what, Shannon? After watching you and Jim go at it, something tells me, Shannon.
Bro, what's wrong with your hair, folks? I can't even get past. I'm trying to live. Shannon. I'm trying to hear what you saying, but your hair just look crazy. Well, go get a comb or something, man.
Yeah. Something tells me you're not as hip hop as you trying to play to be. Now you had an amazing,
and you not either. And wait till I get to that part.
Amazing college career. You went to Savannah State, all black college, but you grew up on a farm and you was raised by your grandmother. I wonder if your grandmother was really allowing you to listen to hip hop or really get into the hip hop culture. And listen, I'm not saying that there's anything the matter with that. Kept you out of trouble. Man, I was a major fan when you was at Denver. Your brother Sterling was dope at Green Bay. I mean, y'all should have y'all flowers when it comes to football and athletic. But Shannon, I'm gonna have to pull your card on hip hop. How much hip hop are you, Shannon? You know, Jim said something that stuck out. He said, I bet you didn't know one Nas, you couldn't recite one Nas lyric, and you didn't. And I think like the problem right now with these podcasts is a lot of you guys really ain't with the culture like you trying to play that you are.
And you not either, Benzino. Shut up. Hey, look, check this out, right? Now look, Benzino had one hit at the top of the two-way in the throwback era. It was the height of the two-way and throwback era. If you had a beat that sounded like a two-way beat, and if you had on the throwback jersey, niggas just assumed you was hot. Everybody was hot wearing the throwbacks and the two-ways and all that until Fabulous killed all y'all. That was the problem with that. Everybody was raw with it until Fabulous start outdoing everybody. Fabulous throwbacks look like, I can't even explain where his jerseys was coming from, and y'all couldn't keep up. Y'all couldn't hang. Lil Flip started wearing throwback jerseys with like 10 damn numbers on it. Like, nigga, we don't know all that. They got a jersey with 10 different numbers on it. But anyway, Benzino had one hit, man. Rock the Party. That was it. And I'm going to tell you something what else Benzino was doing too, because don't nobody never talk about this and speak on this. Benzino album, the group he was with, what was their name? Made Man, the man don't nobody know about, whatever the hell their name was. I don't know, nigga, I ain't listen to it. I'm going to tell you why. Why Benzino had the source, right? I literally watched Benzino down talk Eminem, down talk 50, down talk Dre, and get their albums the worst mics ever. But him and his group, that don't nobody even know these niggas, they got 4-5 mics. Benzino albums got 4-5 mics. Nobody ever walked in nowhere and said, put that Benzino on unless it was Rock the Party. That's it. How hip-hop are you? How a part of the culture are you? You not a part of no culture, bruh. The Source was an extortion magazine, bruh. You got a lot of nerve sitting up here trying to tell somebody they ain't a part of the culture, nigga. You not either. You extorted the culture. And you did Eminem dirty. You did 50 them dirty. Like, you was doing them dirty at the Source. Couldn't help it, but 50 got that hot, but still you was running all type of crazy articles about Eminem and bro, like Benzino, nah, bro, you ain't part of the culture neither.
This narrative that Shannon Sharp can't tell Jim Jones that he's delusional and that Nas is better than him because Shannon Sharp grandmama didn't let him listen to rap music is absurd. Shannon Sharp was drafted into the NFL in 1990. Shannon Sharp, I believe, was 20 or 21 years old when he was drafted. Shannon Sharp 100% has listened to Nas or did listen to Nas. Shannon Sharp's grandmama wasn't dictating what music he could listen to as a fully grown adult in the NFL. Cut it out, man. Now, I could understand if Shannon Sharp made a point that was so egregiously horrible that you have to look and say, yeah, that's somebody who clearly knows nothing about what he's talking about. But that's not the case. And I'm not saying that's the case in terms of that's what I agree with. No, that's what Benzino agrees with. Benzino and Shannon Sharp's opinion on this Nas and Jim Jones thing isn't too far off. Benzino is only critiquing Shannon Sharp for clout. That like that's it. It's not because he disagrees with Shannon Sharp.
You can ask all the questions and dress fly and look, you know what I'm saying? But how much hip hop were you growing up, Shannon Sharp? I need to know. And it's no disrespect. Don't take it personal.
Benzino, how much hip hop was you? Rock the party. We gonna rock the party. That's the only. That's literally the only Benzino song I know. We gonna rock the party. We gonna get in the party. We gonna rock in the party. However it go, that's it. Look, I don't even remember the lyrics. All I remember, we gonna rock the party. We gonna rock the party. We gonna rock the party. That's it. That's it. Nobody has never gotten my concept. Put that Benzino on. Ever. But you so hip, man, these dudes straight clowns, bro.
Man, but I need to know when you was growing up in you was growing up in Georgia on a farm. Something tells me, Shannon, you're not as hip hop as you claim to be. Seeing your partner Stephen
and
A.
you
Smith,
not either.
Same thing. You guys can talk about hip hop subjects and make lots of money, and that's dope. But are y'all like pulling the wool over people's eyes? Because that's being done a lot right now. These days with the internet, get some bread, get a producer, really make it look like you're something that you're not. So I just want to know, Shannon Sharp, how hip hop are you? Shannon, come on now. And I'm not going to debate and argue because hip hop flows through my blood like football flows through yours. But how much hip hop are you? That's all.
I'll be the first one to tell you there's very few people on earth who's more hip-hop than Benzino. Benzino is responsible for quite possibly the greatest hip-hop media platform of all time with The Source. But
and that's cap. I'm sorry, Flacco. Maybe you don't know the truth, but that's cap. The Source is not the greatest media hip-hop platform of the world. It's not. And if you used to get the Source magazines, those of us that used to get the Source magazines, we know that now. What we thought it was then, it wasn't even that, bro. It was extortion. The mics was paid for. The ads was terrible. You know what I'm saying? It was a trash magazine. And that's why they fell off and went out of business. Not because nobody didn't want the Source no more, but it was trash. It literally became trash. That's why Double XL killed them so easy. Why? Because you know what Double XL did? Double XL didn't say, we gonna charge y'all for ratings. We gonna do this and we gonna do that. Double XL came in and said, we gonna rock with everything hot and everything upcoming. And the Source was bye-bye. Out of here. There ain't nobody wearing them damn Spree Wells, nigga. nobody want one of them Marbury shoes. All you had to do was either be Benzino friend or pay, and you could get an ad in the Source. The worst ads ever, bro. And that's why Double XL killed them, bro. Because they stayed with everybody that was hot, 50 them, G, all that. They stayed with everybody that was hot at that time. And they stayed with the up-and-coming people that was hot at that time. The Source wasn't doing that. At all. Come on, man. This is crazy.
Being said, you don't have a right to dictate who can speak on what. And it's not even, Shannon Sharp didn't even say anything that Benzino disagreed with. So, Shannon Sharp being baffled by Jim Jones' delusion and calling Jim Jones out for stating he's better than Nas is something that Benzino said word for word verbatim in another one of his rants after the Shannon Sharp and Jim Jones situation. So if you don't agree with what he's saying and you believe this man had a niche and nuanced hip-hop take that was correct in arguing Nas over Jim Jones, then you even coming out to go off on Shannon Sharp for speaking on hip-hop, to me is crazy. First is, white folks can't speak on hip-hop. Now is nobody can speak on hip-hop but Benzino.
This Jim Jones and Nas thing, right? I'm just going to use this as an example, but y'all are taking part in, like, really ruining the legacy of this fuck.
Folks, is you hot or cold, man? You taking advice from somebody that don't even know if they hot or cold. They got on a hoodie with some shorts and a G-Shock. Come on, man.
Man, this man has a whole fucking legacy. This Jim Jones Nas shit wasn't even a debate. Okay, it gets cute at first, but it's getting out of control. It's getting way too disrespectful, and it's gonna cause irreparable damage.
Bro, and ain't nobody asked for your opinion. We never have. You just volunteered the shit. We ain't nobody never said. Hey, man, let's just keep it real. Ain't nobody around y'all ever said, man, I wonder what Benzino think about all this. Nobody, never, ever in the history of hip-hop, in the history of anything that's going on in hip-hop. Have you ever seen somebody stop and say, we wonder what Benzino thinking right now? Hell no. Why would we? We don't care what Benzino think. Nigga had one hit, rock the party. We're going to go on the party. We're going to rock. Come on, man. They don't even know the lyrics. Just that, we're going to rock the party. Big nigga had on the throwback. That's when all you nigga, you was all dead, nigga. That's when all you old niggas was trying to hide them throwbacks, trying to look young, nigga, you was an old nigga then, nigga, you still around, you an old young nigga. That's old again, nigga. You was old when that came out, nigga. Tried to get him put on the throwback jersey. Yeah, we gonna rock the party. We gonna do this at the party. We gonna do that at the party. Like, that's it. Come on, man. Ain't nobody running around here telling me, man, I wonder how Benzino feel about all this. No.
To the culture. And let me tell you why. Nas is a fucking legend. Nas put in work. Nas's lyrics and what he stood for, whether it was from the streets or diving into the music that his father was a part of jazz, black culture, to doing stuff with the Marleys, to just basically looking at what he went through and trying to get our people together. And y'all want to ruin that? Look, no disrespect to Jim, but Jim's not even close. The shit Jim says doesn't even make sense compared to what Nas has done for our culture.
Were you smoking when you said you better than
Benzino? Jim Jones did more than you, though. Jim Jones did way more than you. Way more. You ain't even help your daughter get on. Nigga, how hip-hop is you? You ain't even help your daughter get on. What are you talking about? Yeah, what Jim Jones is saying is crazy. Nigga, what you saying is even crazier. Why you ain't help Coy get on? Doodle, a 10 on my doodle meter. This nigga is trash, bruh.
Nas?
I might have been a little bit. Well, as far as let's get this right. I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run. But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of folks came up second to Tom Brady. I'm put it to you like this, Jim. Hey, bro, you been at this thing. But lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah, but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in. And the things
I can be in the church house. You can't ever Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, y'all know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Y'all agree, like 100% agree. So I don't even understand where the critique for Shannon Sharp came from. It sounds like Benzino has figured out the formula, man. If he wants to be the next Charleston White or whoever the next interview guy is who diss everybody during their interviews,
we not caring about Benzino opinion at all.
You gotta kind of pick issues with people who you probably agree with, which is what he's doing. Now, he moved on to Scott Storch. Now, the Scott Storch situation, depending on what side of the fence you sit on,
Lord.
you may agree or disagree with Benzino, but Benzino had a big issue with what Scott Storch said about the Roots and about Kanye West in his Patrick Bet-David interview.
Scott Storch. Scott Storch. Scott Storch, do you know how much money you have made off of our culture? I think I threw you about 50,000, or the label did. Scott Storch, do you know how much money you have made off of our culture? And then you decide to do an interview the other day.
Scott Storch has had a bigger impact on our culture than Benzino. This nigga steady coming up here talking about people who had more of an impact than he did. All that stuff Scott Storch did with Dre and 50 and Ross and everybody. I don't even know if he ever did something with Benzino. But even if he did it, we don't care. Well, unless it was Rock the Party, nigga, I don't know. That's the only song I know from this nigga. But this nigga is claiming he's the culture. How, nigga, what did you do? Having the Source magazine don't make you part of the culture, brother. Source magazine was awful. Awful. That was the only thing we had at the time, so we thought it was great. That shit was awful, bro. The Source magazine was awful. I used to get I used to buy them all of them at first until I realized how bad it was. This is crazy, bro.
In an interview, you call The Roots one of the dopest black rap groups to ever, as far as bands and what they brought to the table and originality, their catalog of work from Philly. You have the nerve to call them haters.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't believe that if somebody put money in your pocket, that you are now required to hold your breath and never critique them ever in the history of life, even if they're doing things that you don't agree with. I don't feel like if I go to a job and my employer puts money in my pocket, that means I can never critique my employer if they're doing some BS. That's just such an unfair standard, and it's not like Scott Storch said some things that he didn't back up. He actually gave examples. When he called them haters, he actually broke down why he believed they were haters. He spoke on how they would talk down upon him when he was about to work with Dr. Dre. They told him and laughed at the opportunity because they claimed it was 10 years too late. How when he was working with them, he gave them a record that belonged to Jill Scott, and he made them promise, hey, bro, don't take Jill Scott off the record. She's an up-and-coming artist. This will be a good look for her. And then right when they secured the record from Scott Storch, they proceeded to take Jill Scott off the record and replace her with Erykah Badu, taking away one of Jill Scott's early looks, which to me is some hating activities. So if this man, even though he's white, even though, you know, he came into hip-hop, if he's giving examples on how hip-hop figures and hip-hop legends did some F-ish, I don't think that he's wrong for expressing or pointing out how they did some F-ish. Being a hip-hop legend don't mean you Jesus Christ, bro. We could critique you. Like, I don't care if he's white, blue, purple, or green. He could critique you if you did some F-ish.
Started in the Roots and did a lot of stuff for them. Very underappreciated. And I was the guy who, like, again, came up with a lot of the nucleus of what that shit was. And I left the group and was told that I was like the Pete Best of the Roots. You know, Pete Best is the guy that quit the Beatles.
Left the Beatles, yeah.
Yeah. And like, I mean, even my girlfriend like broke up with me because of that and said, oh, you f***ed up and this and that. I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I see bigger. I'm not going to go on the road with a bunch of guys that don't appreciate me and be like, that's the white guy who plays keys in the Roots.
They didn't appreciate you.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, they called me the white devil. And I'm like the most harmonious, loving, non-racist person ever. And like, it just hurt me. I was like,
how'd you meet him? How'd you link up with them? Because I work out to one of the songs from Roots, the one that you did.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't made for the Roots. That song, after I left the Roots, they realized, I guess, that they needed me still. And I was, you know, I got my own little studio in this place called Sigma Sound where all the like disco stuff was recorded.
This is where? What city?
In Philly.
Okay.
And they record there downstairs. So of course they come upstairs and they're like, you got anything? And they saw I was working with this girl. I'm working with a girl who at the time worked at Urban Outfitters, and now she's one of the most legendary neo-soul legends, Jill Scott.
Of course.
So Jill Scott was not an artist. I was like, yo, you should be an artist. You're awesome. She was like working at Urban Outfitters and doing an off-Broadway rendition of Rent. And
hold on. Give it up for Jill Scott. Go ahead, give it up for Jill Scott. No hate at all whatsoever. Tolerated over here. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Miss Jill Scott, you know what I'm saying?
Questlove came in and heard what we were making. And he said, oh, I got to have this. And that was You Got Me, the song you like to work out to. And they told me, like, when I gave it to them, I was like, make sure Jill stays on it. And at the last minute, they switched it to Erykah Badu.
Huh.
But Jill wrote it. When I went to tell, like, the people in the Roots that, like, I was still, like, talking to sort of that I was going to work with Dre, they were like, you working with Dre 10.
They kicked Jill Scott off the song and put Erykah Badu on there. Crazy, bro. I like them both, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, man, I'm glad she still made it, even though they did that, bro, because, you know, that could have been the end of her career right there. You know, she probably would have never end up making it. Some people, that happened to a lot of people, you know, and they never make it. They never come back from that. I hate hearing stories like that when you done created this piece of work and they just go get other people and put them in a place to take your place on the song. Like, I always thought that was corny, but I'm glad Jill Scott still made it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Erykah Badu be still doing her thing. So, you know, it is what it is.
10 years too late, bro. Good luck. Like, yeah, and we went on the run of runs.
Did they really
lit
say
up?
that?
Yeah, they're just all haters.
What happened to those guys?
They're on the Jimmy Fallon show.
I don't know, bro. That sounds like some pretty empirical evidence that the Roots was on some hating stuff. Now, Benzino wasn't just upset at what Scott Storch said about the Roots. He was also upset about what he said about Kanye, about Diddy, among other people.
You said Diddy tried to flirt with you.
He's saying it as if it's unbelievable, as if he can't believe that Diddy was flirting with a man. Sir, I don't know where you've been. I don't know what rock you've been under, but in 2025, June 29th, Diddy being accused of flirting with a man is like the most PC believable thing in the world. After we just watched a trial where Diddy has been accused of taking milk fluids, baby batter, and rubbing it on his nipples after having a man eviscerate the cheeks of the woman he's with, I don't think that flirting with a man is a step too far, bro.
I just think that if you try and go up against liquor, oil, like all the, firearms, tobacco, all these things, like, you're going to have some problems. That's the real Illuminati. And he went up against Diageo and said, I could do my own Ciroc. And, like, they were like, oh, yeah? They dropped the bomb on him. The crime doesn't fit the punishment with him. I still have my pictures up of Diddy on my Instagram. Now, disappointed, yeah, that he put his hands on a woman. I'll forgive. If I find out that he did something to a little kid or did some shit, which I don't think they're gonna find because I don't think that's who he is.
I ain't gonna lie. Deliberations going on in that Diddy trial right now. Ain't looking too good for Diddy. But we'll see what happens.
I don't get that from him. I don't know, whatever picture they're trying to paint from him is this devious guy. I mean, whatever. Like, he's gangster for sure. Like, he's definitely, like, he's from New York. Like, he's not. Is he a homosexual? Bisexual? Everybody's trying to push that. Is he a cuck? Which is like watching other. I wasn't in the room. I do know I felt like at one point he tried to flirt with me. I was just like, I'm good on that type of shit. But,
oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But
what do you mean he tried to flirt with it?
I'm just gonna leave it simple like that.
Did he try to take it from Scott Storch? Bruh. wasn't ready to hear that, goddammit. Hey, P. Diddy said he gonna get what he want, bad boy, baby. I love the way you scrambling and scraping, daddy. You know what I'm saying? I love the way you scrambling and scraping.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty bold statement, Scott.
I know Benzino despises white people in hip-hop, a la his beef with Eminem for the last 20 years, but Scott Storch don't really fit that definition of the devil that he's trying to paint.
Benzino
Scott Storch
just
actually
a
had
lame,
Diddy back.
bro.
It feels like Benzino watched the clip and didn't watch the interview. Scott Storch actually gave the
Niggas
game
a
plan.
lame.
Yo, Diddy is being prosecuted because Diddy had the nerve to stick up for himself and go up against a huge conglomerate. Scott Storch, being a Jewish man, giving that play up, to me, is huge for Diddy. But Benzino is still attacking him for saying, hey, bro, even though I don't think he did that other stuff, man, he did try to flirt with me at some point. I feel like that's the most honest you could be. Now, this is the most, I guess, controversial part of the interview, where Scott Storch went off on Kanye West for being anti-Semitic. Now Benzino will go off on Scott Storch for, I guess, speaking out of term or not sitting in his place and dare going against Kanye West for saying things that Scott Storch believes is anti-Semitic. Scott Storch is Jewish, by the way.
And then you also said you would crack Kanye West for saying something about Jews. Now, hold the fuck. This can't be the same Scott Storch I know. Not cokehead Scott that all the bitches drank for money back in the days. Not that same.
Benzino, we know that. Once again, nobody asked your opinion. We know that, bro. We know Scott Storch did drugs. We know he went broke. Come on, bro.
Scott. Not Scott who was on Diddy's nutsack for over at Star Island wanting to be involved in anything that he was doing. Not the keyboard player for the Roots, white boy Scott. You got a nerve
what
to
was
go
you
do
doing,
an interview.
Benzino?
Again, legends.
Benzino got 2 accolades in hip-hop. The Source magazine and Rock the Party. Like, that's it. This nigga study talking about what everybody else did. Nigga, all you did was the Source and Rock the Party. Jim Jones got way. Now, Jim Jones blow you out the water. You ain't nowhere close near Jim Jones at all. We ain't gonna even start that. With that, stop right here. I bet not see y'all online nowhere saying Benzino was better than Jim Jones. No, he's not. And he never will be. The nigga had one song and a big throwback jersey on. Rock the Party. That's it. That's it. I never listened to nothing else. Nothing. Nobody around, nothing. Man, that new Benzino, what it? Rock the Party. That song old as hell, bro. That's all he got, bro.
Whether y'all like them or not, they're all legends in our culture. Jay, Diddy, and the Roots. And Scott Storch, you got the
Benzino, they all legends, but you ain't. What the hell? You ain't legendary. You ain't culture. I'm culture. Flacco culture. You ain't the culture. All you did was rock the party in the Source. You ain't even nowhere near Jim Jones. That's what niggas. I don't know what people out these niggas, man.
Audacity to get on
you
here,
got the audacity
to get on an interview
nigga.
On social media once again, bozo time, bozo to Cleasy, and talk shit about our
Benzino
legends.
calling somebody a bozo.
After
is
you
crazy.
made
I
millions
love Eminem.
off of our culture.
Hey, what he say? Wait, hold on.
You
Hey, what he say when he was crying about, I love Eminem. I hug him right now. He said, if Eminem come in here, I just want to give him a big hug. I just want to give him a big hug. Why would Eminem hug you? All them articles you wrote about him, all that slander you put out there on him, on his name, all the raw albums he did, you putting him in the Source, giving 2.5 mics, 3 mics, all that. Giving trash albums 5. That's when I knew something was going on. But I get the Source. This album got a 5 mics. I go get the album straight doo-doo. Toilet water, straight doo-doo. You hear me? Like, come on, bruh.
First of all, right?
Regardless of your opinion on what Kanye West have said, if you believe there's a deeper meaning to what Kanye West have said, if you think Kanye West is mentally ill, or if you think that Kanye West is speaking up for his people, regardless of what you think about what Kanye West has said, I feel like where the line of being reasonable starts is you understanding why a Jewish person may not like Kanye West for literally saying, I am a Ozzy, or I love Adolf. I feel like when you go to that extent.
All right, look, man, I don't even need to hear no more. Benzino ain't even on Jim Jones level. We really don't care about Benzino opinion. It never mattered in hip hop. It never will. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. It's your boy Buddha, and I'm out.